Telemedicine and eHealth. I'm going to tell you a little bit about future visions on eHealth. And most of you will say, well, for those having visions, they should see the doctors. I'm trying not to visit the doctor, but I'm trying actually to present to you what our thoughts could be. Well, when we talk about eHealth, we're not talking about a new thing. Telemedicine actually has been practiced since we invented the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell. Since then, this instrument is used in medicine. Nobody really realized that it's telemedicine, but it's telemedicine. So, and after a few years, actually, when we use telemedicine in army services or also whilst flying to the moon, we reach now a point where telemedicine and eHealth got mature. And now we are trying to use this instrument to really resolve the huge burdens of healthcare, such as demographics, such as costs, but also such as quality or patient safety. When you look now at the way how we think business is going to be transformed, it's quite an easy graph. Actually, this is Switzerland. When you take away all the mountains, it looks like this, a very small country. But actually, the way how we deliver care is very simple. It's a one-to-one interaction between a patient and a doctor. 10,000 times in a country, doing all the time the same thing, using one of the most expensive resources, an academic. This is not efficient, definitely not. The first thing we did in eHealth or telemedicine, actually we centralized some of the processes. When we started telemedicine, it's nothing but centralizing some of the processes, and we gained about 30 to 40% of effectiveness. Still, it's a one-to-one interaction between the patient and the doctor. So there is nothing about a disruptive element in this. This step of eHealth is not disruptive. It's just increasing a little bit the effectiveness. The disruptive component will be next. It will be the step when we start to automate core components and core processes. I know that we as a doctor, we don't like it to hear, but the next goal will be to substitute the doctors by a machine. We have to take over some of these processes. That's not to say that we are going to lose the patient out of our focus, but we have to work on the automation of core processes. So what are these digital game changers to help us to automate these core processes? Of course, it's the electronic data exchange and networks. We have to collaborate. eHealth or integrated care means collaborative care. This doesn't work if we don't exchange data. Of course, we're in the age or at the age of the democratizing healthcare. People or patients start to be part of their healthcare. They start to get involved. They start to get involved through apps they can download on their mobile phones. Of course, we have the telemedical services, as discussed, offering services on a distance, increasing efficiency. But also, we start to use wearables and telebiomonitoring. That's part of automation, because we're starting automizing, I guess, potentially diagnostic components right where they can be measured at the patient's end. So this approach, wearables and telemonitoring, will help us a lot in automizing healthcare process. And then we have the term nanotechnology, and we start in digitalizing diagnostics. We start to implant diagnostic instruments into human bodies, such as lab tests and others. And then we start to automate the whole diagnostic process. Here a picture of an automated mini clinic or health kiosk, where you don't need a doctor anymore actually to capture all the diagnostic informations. We start automizing surgery with robots operating on patients. Some of these robots, they already operate more precise and accurate than a doctor. In the future, some of us, or a lot of us, will be operated by machines. And of course, the big term about big data and artificial intelligence. This is going to change the way how we treat patients. This is the approach where we can teach the machines to do the same thing what doctors have been doing now for hundreds and hundreds of years. We just have to get access to this data. But ladies and gentlemen, there are also showstoppers for the digital transformation. First of all, it's social acceptance. Maybe patients don't want to be operated by a machine. Maybe they don't trust a computer to diagnose. Maybe they don't want that all the data is shared with others. So to me, this issue is really the main burden. And it's the big, hairy goal we have to achieve. We have to create acceptance, not only amongst professionals. We have to create acceptance for the patients or by the patients. And then I know that we love to tell others that eHealth and telemedicine is extremely cost-effective. But ladies and gentlemen, sadly enough, we don't really have evidence. We do have evidence that some of telemedical initiatives or eHealth initiatives, they're cost-effective. But there is no evidence that this instrument as such is going to be cost-effective. We have to do a lot of work on this topic. Otherwise, we can't justify to spend millions and millions of dollars and euros into these initiatives. And then for many countries around the globe, there is another topic that generates a lot of complexity, and it's a reimbursement problem. A lot of the new services, they're not reimbursed in the classical way. And this actually hinders a lot of good initiatives actually to take off because there is no sustainable business case. And it ends in another pilot and project that dies after there is no funding anymore. So we have to work on sustainable business cases. And of course, another showstopper, a legal framework and data protection, even though patients, they don't really care about data protection in reality, but others do, obviously. And there is a lot of problems connected to this topic that it's not easy to overcome all these legal questions. Let me finish with a personal digital health prognosis. By the year 2020, digital health will not just be an initiative, it will be a huge market that's driving a lot of economies around the globe. It's going to be a big business. And a lot of people will not only profit on the health side from digital health, but also others will profit on the economic side of this initiative. And some other prognosis. By the year 2020, health apps will be the first choice to seek information for patients. Google, IBM, and Uber will be relevant players in the healthcare system. Patients will use digital symptom checkers based on artificial intelligence to seek for diagnosis. And patients will have access to digital labs based on nanotechnology that will offer 100 of lab tests right at the point where they are, maybe embedded in their body. Smartphones will be the diagnostic tool. They will include stethoscopes, ophthalmoscopes, dermatoscopes, ECGs, cough detectors and diagnostic instruments, And some of them, there will also be ultrasonography instruments. And we will have the first lawsuit because a computer killed a patient based on misprogramming. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm personally looking forward to this future. And maybe the year 2020, we'll meet again in Chennai, and then you can challenge me. Thank you very much.